Let's move on now to the third email of the day. What's our third email today?
All right, next up is Dan Rodriguez. It looks like Universal Pictures has shifted Fast and the Furious 9 from April 10th, 2020 to May 22nd, 2020. However, what's interesting about this is now Fast 9 will be competing with the new Godzilla versus Kong film and the new SpongeBob film. First, what are your thoughts? Second, I have to ask who wins this weekend. I'm going to have to give the Memorial Day weekend win in 2020 to Godzilla versus Kong monster film, but I think it'll be a close one. I'm looking forward to all three films. Thoughts?
I mean, this is a rather interesting move. Now, clearly, this is only moving it by a number of weeks. So it's not like, oh no, something's wrong with the film and they need 4 extra months to fix something, right? This isn't a situation like that. But what is so odd about the decision is to put it right on the date with a high-profile film like Kong versus Godzilla, but more than just another high-profile film. It's a film that on many levels is trying to attract a lot of the same demographic that Fast and the Furious is trying to attract out to it. And that, to me, makes it seem like an odd choice. It seems like an odd choice. I don't know that I like this move, to be honest with you, by Universal. I'm not sure that I love this move. Now, as far as the question goes about who wins that weekend, and this is, of course, long-term, speculating. As far as who's going to win that weekend, well, let's see what kind of precedent we have. All right, the last 2 Fast and the Furious movies, all right? Fast 8 opened to about $100 million, $99 million, and Fast 7 opened to $147 million. Both of those are bigger than the last 2, also the first 2 and only 2, films that we've had in this Godzilla King Kong universe. Kong opened to $61 million. Godzilla opened to $93 million. Both the Fast and Furious previous 2 films opened larger than that. One of them significantly larger than that. On that basis alone, I would say right now, sitting here on February 18th, my guess would be, well, we have the data right in front of us. Fast and the Furious is going to win that weekend. And I believe Fast and Furious is going to win that weekend. There is one sort of but to all that, though, Robert. And the but in all that comes from this little movie coming out called Godzilla King of the Monsters. The whole narrative could change here. If Godzilla King of the Monsters comes out, and let's face it, the first Godzilla was not fantastic. I enjoyed it, but it had a lot of critics. Kong, I thought was pretty fun. I like Kong Skull Island, but it wasn't fantastic. I don't think it had a lot of naysayers for it. But if Godzilla King of the Monsters can come out, because everybody at Comic-Con got real excited by that trailer. Everyone at Comic-Con got so excited for that trailer. It was a great trailer. If this movie can come out and live up to its potential, regardless of what the opening weekend is for this movie, if this movie blows everybody's socks off and gives us the giant monster movie we've all been wanting to see, then that changes the landscape of that 2020 release date when Kong versus Godzilla opens up against Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah.
I will totally change my prediction at that point. But then again, if Godzilla King of the Monsters comes out and his lukewarm reception disappoints a little bit, then I'm saying it. So February 18th, I'm saying Fast and Furious 9 wins that weekend, but all bets are off once Godzilla King of the Monsters comes out because that'll either reinforce that or totally obliterate that. Rob, number one, what do you think about the move of Fast 9 to move on to the date of Godzilla King of the Monsters or Godzilla versus Kong? And on top of that, right now, if you had to look into your crystal ball and look into the future, which one wins that weekend?
Well, my boundless love for the Fast and the Furious franchise is well known, but my love of giant monsters is also well known. So it's kind of like the weekend when Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan and Poltergeist opened on the same day. Now, what that means is it's a win for everybody. For me, for an old school genre fan, old school geek like myself, it's just an orgiastic cornucopia of great movie going dumb. That's I mean, come on. Now I can't wait.
I think your next T-shirt, by the way, right there. The orgiastic cornucopia, yeah, whatever that was. That's your next
I don't
T-shirt.
even remember, but something like that. I just think that look, there is a lot of overlap with those audiences, but I think that when you have 2 big movies like this, I'm of the opinion that it creates an excitement. It gets people all lathered up to be like, yeah, to go have some. See, I got to watch my hands again.
Yeah.
Have some excitement in the movie theater because, you know, Godzilla King of the Monsters looks amazing. It looks and by the way, how do you top that when you've got Ghidra and Mothra and Rodan, and now you've just got Kong? But okay. And then you've got Fast and Furious 9 coming off the heels of Hobbs and Shaw. So we've got 2 movies coming out this summer that lead into both of these films. And I think both are going to do really well. But I do think the Fast and the Furious, the 9th installment, or I guess it would be the 10th because Hobbs and Shaw would be the 9th.
Yeah.
So the 10th installment in the Fast and Furious franchise is going to take that weekend because, again, you know, giant monsters, I've talked about how Americans don't have that sense of whimsy anymore. And giant monsters are whimsical. But cars, man, cars are so uniquely American, just like Vin Diesel. And I think that I think we're all cars will always trump giant monsters in this country, at least here. And I think Fast and Furious 9 will take it, but I think both films are going to do very, very well.
Ashley, let me ask you this. Okay, so this release date in 2020 comes rolling along. You've got a free evening. Your significant other at the time says, hey, let's go to the movies tonight. We got 2 movies out right now. We got Fast and Furious 9. We got Godzilla versus Kong. Which one are you buying your ticket for, Ashley?
Okay, well, that's interesting because normally I would go for, as Robert was saying, more of like a car movie over a monster movie. But I feel like because Fast and the Furious has so many movies that precede Fast and the Furious 9, I would be intimidated to just go buy a ticket for Fast and the Furious 9. So I'd probably go see Godzilla because I feel like I could just like fall right into that movie a little bit more.
That's an
a great
point of view and
a salient point.
All right. With that down and out of the way, let's move on now